One way that we can channel the future Federation spirit into today's world is ensuring that we're using people's preferred pronouns. I didn't do the research ahead of time on this episode as I should have, and so sometimes we don't get them quite right for the characters and actor in this episode. So, Jesse James Keitel, the actor who plays Captain Angel in this episode, is a trans woman who goes by she, her pronouns. The character themselves of Captain Angel, however, uses they, them pronouns, and sometimes we use those interchangeably in the episode. That's my fault for not checking ahead of time. It's always important we use these pronouns correctly because, you know what? Representation and inclusion matters. And so if someone tells you what their pronouns are, use them. That's what the Federation would do. The Trek Geeks Podcast Network is proud to have Fansets as its presenting sponsor. Fansets is home for amazing pin collectibles with over 400 officially licensed Star Trek pins and new releases every month. Stay tuned for a special discount code worth 10% off your next order at fansets.com. Fansets, our pins have character. It's almost hijinks again when the Enterprise is lured into a trap and Yeaaargh, there be pirates. Boarded and commandeered, the ship is lost to the swashbuckling crew of the Serene Squall, a pirate ship on the edge of Federation space looking for a score. The captain and away team are taken hostage, but thankfully our heroes have a new ally in Dr. Aspen. Or do they? And can Spock's relationship survive yet more strain as T'Pring is forced to choose between love and duty? Or at least matrimonial bond and duty.
Duty,
yeah. Get out of there. Keep your career. Okay. Thanks for joining us on Discovering Trek, the Star Trek Universe Companion, presented by Fansets. This week, we see the captain save the ship through his culinary skills, some philosophical discussion about false dichotomy and identity, and hopes dashed that maybe the Tholians were making an appearance. I thought for sure that was going on when all the laser beams started. There is also a blast from Spock's and the Trek movie franchise past. I'm Matthew Simone, and I'm joined by Yvette Blackmont-Tom and by Aiyana-Mei Tom. Hello. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Library computer, data being received.
if you'd like to follow the show on social media, you can find us on Twitter at Discovering Trek, or on Facebook. You can join the conversation on Camp Kittimer. Answer a few simple questions, and our admins, Haley, Jackie, and Fark, will let you in. A reminder that this episode of Discovering Trek provides spoilers for the Strange New Worlds episode, Serene, Squall. If you have not watched yet, head over to Paramount Plus and watch the episode, and then head back. Failure to do so leaves you open to spoilers.
Episode 107 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Serene Squall, aired June 16th, 2022. It was written by Bo Namayo and Sarah Tarkoff. It was directed by Sydney Freeland. All right, how did everyone feel about this one?
Wow, I really enjoyed it, honestly. Plot twist, do love a plot twist, of course. Kind of fell into it. I'm not gonna lie, I also fell for all the tricks and was very surprised when it turned out to be not who we thought it was. But overall, I really did enjoy it, especially my favorite Nurse Chapel and her wittiness, her quirkiness, her just badassness. I love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a thumbs up again. You know, another thumbs up. It was a good episode. I love a pirate episode. It was funny. There were, like she said, there were plot twists. Nurse Chapel was doing her thing. So I guess, thumbs up. I don't know. I don't think we're going to have a thumbs down. I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but a thumbs up all the way.
Yeah. Yvette, I know that you and I, we were kind of like hit or miss on the last episode.
Yeah. But I don't think we did a thumbs down. I think it was good,
Yeah, it just seemed a little bit on the nose, that one. I know there was a lot of people online after we did a review of that episode that really loved it. And it was still good, but but this one I really enjoyed it. I liked Aiyana-Mei, you talked about like Nurse Chapel, and I loved her scene of running around with like the hypo spray and like hypo spraying
Yes.
people, you know, and she's like,
Amazing.
just because she's a
She's
doctor
brilliant.
or a nurse doesn't mean she can't, like, you know, be badass and
Right.
fight back and help the
Absolutely.
crew and everything
And
else.
she was so, I mean, there were so many, bodies around her. She was, hypo spraying them left and right. You go, girl. No hesitation. I like that.
When the pirates are running in the hallway or in the corridors of the ship, she doesn't like hesitate for a second. Like she knows immediately that something's going on. Like these people are just supposed to be here. She's like hiding out in the corridors and getting her hypo ready and everything else. So, but I didn't see that coming. I didn't think the ship was going to get taken over, and I certainly had the wool pulled over my eyes by our doctor. I didn't. What should I have? I figured no, they got that.
Fleet security is trash. Come on.
That is true. Over and over again. They
Pure
prove
trash.
themselves.
They are always getting boarded. That ship gets boarded in every timeline, every universe. I don't care what century it is. That damn ship is always being boarded.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with security on the Federation.
It's trash.
It's trash. Yeah, this is something we make fun of in TNG as well, is like how many times people can just like make off with shuttlecraft. Like you can literally just walk in there and just steal a shuttlecraft and like just take off at any point.
Lock it out, Worf. I can't. It's too late.
Yeah, it's too,
Why is it too late?
Why do you keep leaving the keys in these things?
Right.
Yeah.
And then I guess La'an isn't culpable in this case because she was over on the Serene Squall. So it's
but it's her people. Come on, it's her.
Yeah. So maybe some more training needs to go on with security staff there on the Enterprise.
Seriously.
So let's talk about Dr. Aspen, right? So
Dr. Aspen,
who later on
Aspen,
turned on to be. I was totally taken by that. So I did not see the double cross happening. And then of course, when I thought about it, I was like, oh, it's kind of obvious that this happened.
Yeah, same.
when they showed up in that black skin tight outfit, I was like, uh-oh. Something's gonna happen. I don't know. That's what kind of turned the tables for me. I was like, why is this person in this black sleek? They're a doctor, and I'm like, what's happening here? That kind of threw me off a little bit. I was like, I don't know. I don't think I trust this person anymore.
They look too good.
Not a counselor.
Didn't look
like a counselor anymore.
Yeah, anyone who looks too good in Star Trek, they're usually evil. It's just like that's just how it is. Yeah. Aiyana-Mei, you said you were taken by that twist as well. So how did you feel about that character by the end?
I was a little upset because I really did feel bad for her. She had that whole heartbreak story about they had their whole heartbreak story about their Vulcan husband and how they lost, how they were trying to relate to Spock. He's so hard to relate to because he doesn't show his emotions, but everyone wants to hit that human side and he just won't let them do it, and they tried so hard to connect. And I was like, wow, like this is genuine, like finally somebody for him to relate to, because they have that relationship with the Vulcan, and then it was not what it was truly was. But you know what? When we did realize that Dr. Aspen was Captain Angel, it was pretty quirky. They had some really good lines. I was really happy about that. I was laughing. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of enjoyed the character after that. I was like, oh, you're fun to watch.
Hopefully they turned up in other episodes. That's what I was hoping. I was like, this is a really interesting character.
I think we all said that.
Yeah, I want to know about that necklace.
Oh yeah, it's a little transporter bead necklace.
Yeah.
I want one of those to
I
beam
would
myself to work or whatever. I don't have to go anywhere.
Nope, transporters. Give me a shuttle.
No Adam rearranging.
Have you seen how dangerous shuttles are in Star Trek?
Yeah, they're pretty dangerous.
Yeah, you don't want to get in a shuttle in Star
true.
Trek. That's not. True. Yeah, you're gonna crash land on somewhere, and that's gonna be
gosh.
it. Yeah. Did people feel though that so yeah, like they totally manipulated Spock basically, but I did feel like there were still sincere moments between them in those earlier parts of the conversation, like in his quarters and stuff. Did you both feel like there was still like that they were being sincere with Spock, even though toward the end it was clearly used to manipulate them and take over the ship?
I think they were very genuine in the information and how they were relating to Spock. I just think they used that against him, in the end. But I think all the information that they gave Spock, that talk was something that he needed to hear, but, they just used it against him.
that's what, that was the point of what they wanted to do. They wanted to use Spock's human side, use his emotions to manipulate him. And even though he says that he doesn't succumb to his human half, boy, did he get played like a fiddle, like a human. So Spock, man, I know you want to be full Vulcan, but it's so easy for someone to just go ahead and twist those small little human emotions that he pulls out, and
That's
Captain
right.
Angel did it very well.
Yeah, and Angel mentions that at the end, because Spock is still denying right up to the end of the episode that he can be manipulated by emotion, and they're like, I've been using emotions this entire time in order
a whole episode
to guide you in different places. Now the actor that plays Dr. Aspen / Captain Angel is Jesse James Keitel, and they're a transgendered actor for this episode. Now I think then it's not a surprise then that the conversation with Spock is around this sort of false dichotomy or this binary in his identity between like being a Vulcan and a human. I found that conversation actually like really insightful, because that's never been a dimension that's ever been allowed in that character. They always have to, they're always in a battle, but they never ever consider that there are other options besides either being human or Vulcan or fully human or fully Vulcan. How did everyone feel about that conversation?
I think when we watched it together, I had watched it before, but then when we watched it together, that's when I really felt that. I was like, wow, because I was like, wow, that's a really good way of really understanding transgender also. And it made me go, wow, I never thought to think of that as Spock. We always thought that, Dax was the one that was more in tune to maybe, a binary person, but it goes well with Spock also.
Listening to that conversation, it was, applause to the Star Trek writers again, because it touched so many people. It really did. Like, you can't let, Vulcan and human define you. You can't let those physical things define you. It's who you are as a human being, no matter what. It doesn't matter the facade or who you try to hide, because you have to be true to yourself in order to be happy. I really enjoyed that conversation as well. And I know it touched a whole lot of people, probably in ways they don't even realize now. It was words. Some people needed just to hear those conversations, that words. It's good.
Yeah, my understanding is that the director on this episode, Sidney Freeland, is a trans director as well. So it clearly, like, there was a point made around introducing this idea, like this non-binary idea. And rather than, I thought for sure it was going to come more through Amber as a character. So I was looking for that dialogue, but then instead it's like, but okay, let's take it through a character you already know and show then how this thinking is still applicable to someone who you wouldn't normally think is like transgendered, but how that dialogue and that conversation can still help. Even like a cisgender person like me can still benefit from those kinds of thoughts and ideas, because how often do we put ourselves in like false binaries or dichotomies and boxes? And so this is why, like, I think this conversation around trans rights is so important, because it helps all of us in our society to think of ways that we otherwise will box ourselves or cage ourselves in terms of our own identity. I thought that was really brilliant, and just in that one little piece.
I think it helped. It actually, I know it helped me, because I'm definitely a supporter of anyone who feels like they feel they're less than. But to be a supporter is one thing, but to understand it is another. So that really, it helped me a lot to really understand transgender just a little bit more, because I can put myself in that box also. I have boxes also. So I really enjoyed that part of it. And I think that's how she got most of us, or they got most of us, because we were so into, oh, that's a great line, and wow, we're learning so much. And they were like,
it was relatable, right? It was relatable for everyone, kind of.
But then the switcheroo came along, like, wait, oh, this still is a Star Trek episode now.
Yeah, and the ship's got to get taken over.
Right.
This has to happen now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, it was marvelous. I thought it was really good, and so I really love that aspect of it. And so yeah, I do hope we get to see this character again, because they really just like owned the
I think we're definitely going to see. They're going to be our Harry Mudd, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Another pirate in the Star Trek universe.
Pirates.
Yar.
matey.
Arr. Actually, when I first read the description for this episode, I thought they might actually be introducing Harry Mudd.
Mhm.
You know, it
Yep.
seemed a little bit along that line,
Yep,
that
yep,
tone.
yep.
Okay, so what about the moment on the bridge with Spock and Nurse Chapel? Is that really acting?
No.
Were they really, you know, Chapel says, I appreciate where I
No.
stand with Vulcans because
Mm-mm.
they're always honest. And I'm like, oh, no, I don't know.
Mm-mm.
You heard what T'Pring said. She said you needed that human half to sell the passion of that kiss.
Mhm.
She could see it, and we could see it. I don't know who he's fooling, but wow, what a kiss! It was the embrace, man.
Yeah,
like
well, that's what it was. The embrace.
oof,
Yeah, both of them.
the embrace and his death Vulcan stare. I mean, you know, those eyes don't give too much, but I saw some emotion in that
Saw
at the
some
end
sparks.
of that kiss. Saw some sparkles.
Yeah,
Awesome
but I
sparks.
mean, it could be, you know, like Nurse Chapel said, no matter, even if it was passionate, she understands that he's just not that type of guy that would chase after another woman while he had a girlfriend. She gave him an out on that one. Nice little out there.
They have introduced now,
My man
I don't know if
Ston.
you saw that.
Ston is there.
Yes,
He's
Ston.
there.
I had to
Ston is
make
there.
sure that was his right name. I went back and watched the episode. I was like, it's it. That's Ston. That's him.
That's Ston. Yeah, so that's, you know, so we're already foreshadowing that now that that's going to be a problem. I wondered as soon as that person, that Vulcan was walking toward her, I was like, is that Ston? And then she's like, Ston. I'm like, oh no. So these things are put in motion now. I mean, that's not coincidence that happens with Chapel and then we have Ston in the same episode. So that's going on too.
Yep.
Ooh.
The stuff on the Serene Squall was kind of more side story, I think, than anything. But it was funny that the captain managed to
was
like
funny.
literally cook up a mutiny. That was cool.
Yes.
Cook it up. Was that Alpha Braga 4?
Alpha Braga 4.
Every time I see number one and Pike get together like that, I always think about what Anson told us about. He believes that they were that they went to the academy together. That's what him and Rebecca Romaine, that's their headcanon, is that they went to the academy together. So every time they do that, I'm like, yep, that's that academy stuff.
Yeah, and maybe even served on early missions together on ships and stuff like that. So
Yep.
yeah, they probably have all that repertoire now in
Yep,
their brain that they can
yep.
pull from. And then the only other thing I was surprised at the end. I was like, no, it's not half brother Vulcan from Star Trek V. I'm like, is this Sybok?
That's
And
him.
yeah,
That
they
was
bring him in at the end. And I was surprised by that because I know Star Trek V is not everyone's favorite Star Trek movie. Was anyone else surprised to see Sybok? And what do you think is going to happen with that?
I was definitely surprised about Sybok. I didn't see that coming. Mainly because I only saw that movie once, the night it came out, and that was it. I had never seen it again. Back in I think the 80s, and yeah, that was I never wanted to see it again, so I didn't.
No, it is not the best. It is not the best of Star Trek.
Neat idea, but yeah, that pulled off super well. Aiyana, what do you think is going to happen with Sybok in Strange New Worlds?
Honestly, I was also thrown off about that because what was the name that she said? Zavarius?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
And-
I guess a false name or something.
Yeah, a false name like that. But Spock knew immediately. And as we watched the episode more, Captain Angel was talking about how Zavarius talked about Spock so much.
Yeah.
So that's when I was like, oh, well, I mean, who else could it possibly be but Sybok? But I know he's going to be a terror. I know that's for sure. He's going to come in and do some real damage. Him and his, I wonder if he skipped because did he skip his Kolinar? I wonder if that happened yet. I want to see if they go deeper into him because, we saw his end part in the movie. Like we saw like his demise, his end part there. We didn't see how he became to be so fascinated with this godlike figure. So maybe they'll dive deeper into his background and how he became born out of wedlock and how all that happened.
We see that there is this wrestling the last couple episodes now, the Spock wrestling with his more emotional side or human side. I bet you Sybok's going to be a foil for that sort of inner journey, right? Really just
Definitely.
Come with me, Spock. Come be emotional.
Right.
In the movie, did they know each other when they met? They knew each other, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I doubt they had much contact, but they at least knew about each other. Yeah,
because in this episode he was told never to make contact with him, so I'm sure he listened.
Yeah.
I just find it funny that Sarek, the Vulcan of all Vulcans, is forever doing something that's not Vulcan. He's had a kid out of wedlock. I mean, that's an emotional thing, isn't it? I mean, are they supposed to have their, mating bonds? They're supposed to be bonded to someone. He just decided, oh, I'm just gonna have this kid. I'm not getting bonded to no one. Then he's got human wives. I mean, Sarek is a mess.
Maybe he's got more human going on that he's leading up. Yeah. It's interesting then that him and Spock didn't get along.
Right. That's what I never understood that. I was like, Sarek loves everything human, but he doesn't, he can't deal with his own kid. Side note on Sarek, sorry.
Yeah, no, you might be laying out some of what they're about to get into in the series. I wonder if that's where they're going to be going with bringing in Cybok. It might be.
I've always had a little side eye for Sarek, so. Like,
we'd like to take a moment to talk about Fansets, the presenting sponsor of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network.
Fansets merchandise, as we know, is the leader in pin collectibles for Star Trek, but they offer more than that. In addition to Star Trek, you can find pins for The Big Bang Theory, Scooby-Doo, DC Comics, Batman 66, Harry Potter, and Rick and Morty.
As a listener to the show, you can receive 10% off your next order from Fansets by using the code TrekGeeks, all capital letters, at checkout. And remember that you receive free shipping in the US on orders over $30 or more. Fansets, our pins have character, and we thank Fansets for being the presenting sponsor of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network.
Starfleet Command is proud to present you the Christopher Pike Medal of Valor.
So, awards. Any awards to actors, producers, writers, prop masters? If there was some key things you wanted to highlight for people who were either about to see the episode or hadn't seen it, what would you want to draw attention to?
My funny award is going to be for Pike, and then I would love to give an award to Jesse James. Was that her name?
Yeah, Jesse James Keitel.
Yes, I think she was a wonderful actor. I really hope she comes back as our Mud for Strange New Worlds. I would love to see that.
All right, so I'll go. So I'm gonna say I want everyone to look out for the costume designing, the new suits that they go to when they go onto the pirate ship. I think we discussed that, Yvette. I think we didn't realize that, I think we thought those were new suits because that gold plate that Pike was wearing, that was nice. And then you saw La'an had her red plate for her security. So that was great. And of course, Captain Angel, her black cat suit, that was real sexy with the jewelry and all of the accessories that went along with it. It was very giving pirate. And even when Captain Angel was Dr. Aspen, their green bomber jacket was just, I would love to find something like that to wear that all day. So definitely look out for the new costume designing. It is wonderful.
I think out of all the awards we've given the last couple episodes, I don't know if we've mentioned costuming yet, but it's been really good. Like the whole show, everyone looks so good,
So good. I really like that they kept the white from Discovery for the medical, the Nurse Chapel's in that white jumpsuit. I really like that they kept that, because when they had that for Discovery, it was sleek, it's clean in there, it was so white, sterile. I was like, oh yes. And then she's got her white jumpsuit, and I just, oh man, I love it. I'm gonna probably try and cosplay that one year. We'll see.
Cool. Yeah, no, good points. I think I'm probably gonna go as well with Jesse James Keitel. Also to the director, Sidney Freeland, and just for really selling that argument, or not argument, but conversation, and around really essentially what is a conversation about trans rights and trans identity, but putting it within Star Trek in such a way that it's like, what it is, and it's through the lens of a character that can make even a really wide audience understand and empathize with. And I thought that was just really smart. So I guess as well to the writers on this episode. So they are Bo DeMaio and Sarah Tarkoff. And this is why, I was like, I saw that and I was like, this is why I love Star Trek. I was like, this is what Star Trek can do. And just such and being able to jump in a contemporary conversation and make it fit so well. I was like, that was really smart. It's just really smart.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
As usual.
Yes.
As usual. Yeah.
I love our franchise.
I know. I'm proud to be a Star Trek fan.
Me too.
Any other final thoughts on this one before we roll out?
And it just keeps getting better and better. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm so well, I'm so happy that this is a thing, and it just makes me happy on Thursdays. My
Very
little
much.
Trek heart is just so happy.
Yvette, thank you so much. Aiyana-Mei, thank you so much for joining us as well.
Thank you so much. I had a great time.
Yeah, I hope you can come for more episodes, just like Angel. We hope that you revisit us. in the future.
Absolutely. I'm going to try and get a nice transporter necklace once I figure that out. My sister, she does physics. I'm sure she'll figure that out soon. I'll get everybody one.
My youngest daughter definitely says that she's going to be the model. She's going to start the Federation. It's going to be her. She's a physics and government policy.
Yeah, international politics.
Physics. She's a physics major and a government policy major. And I'm like, so what are you going to do with that? Build the Federation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Single-handedly.
I'm happy and scared all at once.
Well, that's what we need. Is we need people that are doing that kind of thinking.
Well, that's the only way it's going to start. It's got to be that. It's got to be at least one person.
If there's one thing that might stop the Federation from forming, it is when social policy and technology seem out of sync with each other.
Yep.
But that's one thing we see in the Federation is they work together to make that better future.
We gotta make everybody believe in science. That's our first goal. We have a big problem with that, not just here in this state.
And then as we saw in this episode, not just believe in science, but also believe in each other, and that seems like the other thing we need to do too.
Most definitely. Don't forget that you can support Discovering Trek and the Trek Geeks Podcast Network by subscribing to bonus content on Patreon. Get access to unedited audio of all our podcasts and of a lot of other perks. If you'd like to support this and the other member podcasts of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network, beam on over to patreon.com/Trek Geeks, where subscriptions start at low as $2 per month. For more great Star Trek discussion, check out the aforementioned member podcasts on the network. In addition to Discovering Trek, there is Trek Geeks, Rewind, Polytreks, 5-Year Mission, Deep Space Pride, Drawn to Trek, Infinite Trek, The Divine Treasury, Sci-Fi Sisters, Science Station 2, with the first link and the newest addition to the network, Con Pod, about Star Trek conventions. You can find all these shows and where to listen on trekgeeks.com/listen or by downloading the Trek Geeks mobile app.
Music for Discovering Trek is provided by 5-Year Mission. They're writing an original song for each episode of Star Trek. Hear more of their music at 5yearmission.net. Discovering Trek is a production of Coconut Media Works. Executive producers Bill Smith and Dan Davidson. For more great Star Trek discussion, discover the other shows of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network at trekgeeks.com or find us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.
Yar, mateys, that wraps things for us here on Discovering Trek, covering Strange New Worlds, Episode 7, The Serene Squall. As of this recording, this week's episode of Strange New Worlds will be The Elysian Kingdom. The Enterprise becomes stuck in a nebula that is home to an alien consciousness that traps the crew in a fairy tale. Will it be Robin Hood? Let's find out. Big thanks to you, my co-host Yvette, and as well to Aiyana-Mei for joining us this week. Thank you for finding us here on the Trek Geeks Podcast Network, and we'll see you soon. Remember, no one talks Trek like we do.